Hello, everybody, to session 4, Bars Around the World.
Our special guest today is Max. Hello, Max.
Hi, nice to be here.
Nice to meet you. So before we start with the questions for you, we just wanted to ask you for a short introduction of yourself.
The short version is that I'm an access consciousness facilitator, and it's one of my favorite things that I do and be, and because there's always like greater possibility. And I facilitate talk to the entities and write riches for you at this point, as well as, foundation, and whatever other fun classes sort of come up and interesting themes.
Yeah, I see you will make or have a foundation with Simone Zucker, is that right?
In the past, we organized one together, and then I facilitated one in Stuttgart by myself.
Oh, okay,
great.
Cool. Okay.
So German, English, both of those I like to facilitate in.
Cool.
Great. How long are you?
Japanese is not so easy because I don't speak it.
How long are you with Access currently?
12 years. Okay. About 12 and a half years I had my bars run for the first time. And then I was a bit slow, so it took me 6 months to reach a little bit further and to do some more classes.
Cool.
Great.
Cool.
Thank you.
Okay, let's start with the 4 questions. What was the reason for you to choose consciousness or the bars?
Oh, I wouldn't say I chose consciousness for quite some time after starting Access. And for me, it's still a process, to be honest. It's like, sometimes I totally notice how I'm making stupid choices, unconscious choices, and I'm become very aware of I'm like, whoa, seriously, that's like in my world. But more and more, well, first I found access consciousness because my life was like fucking horrible. First of all, I was like dying. I'd studied naturopathy for 10 years. I did all sorts of, that's natural medicine, and I tried all sorts of things beforehand. And even after doing naturopathy at university for 5 years, like my body was at the worst point that it had been. And I just was not good at creating my life or even recognizing that I was aware or anything. So the tools of access really helped me to basically discover that I am aware and then how to deal with that. And then all of the extra things like dealing with entities, for example, that awareness that we don't really acknowledge generally. And things just kept getting lighter and easier and greater. And I started making money at that point and then kept making more money all the time and just really enjoyed, as I started facilitating as well, seeing that difference and that light come on in other people as well. So that's really what inspired me. Firstly, not to die. Then secondly, because my life is getting so much easier. And then thirdly, meeting people that are interested in something different, not just what you see when you look around in the world generally, and you're just like, what? This is lame. Where's the people that are interested in something different and something greater? And that's what I love about Access. Just like you guys, there's people all around the world that I meet all of the time and get to talk to and receive from, and it just creates greater.
Yeah, gifting and receiving. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. So cool.
Cool. Okay. Yes. What was your past experience? Sorry.
Oh.
I was so energy. You remember the most? Sorry.
Oh, the one that I remember the most. But I want to point out at the beginning, like my first bars session wasn't that memorable. Like I said, for 6 months, I didn't really get my bars run again. It was like a friend of a friend, and he just learned bars, and he goes, "Hey, let me just try this." And so he ran my bars. I conked out for about an hour, which means sort of fell asleep. But with bars, it's always different than sleeping, I find.
Yeah.
It's like something else. So it wasn't too memorable, but when I look back on it, I know things started changing at that point, because literally 6 months later, I really started radically changing my life.
Yes.
But some of the most memorable bars experiences, and I have to laugh about these because it literally is this funny afterwards. And this was quite some years ago now, but there would be these times, and this probably happened 3 or 4 times, where for 3 or 4 days, I would be in the worst mood and I'd feel so horrible about everything. And I was constantly trying to figure out with my mind of how to fix this problem that I obviously had. You know, I wasn't asking questions. I wasn't using the access tools, let's say.
Yeah.
And then someone would run my bars, and literally after 3 minutes, and one of those times was actually I ran somebody else's bars. And after 3 minutes, it completely shifted where I didn't have that problem anymore. It was like totally irrelevant. I realized there actually wasn't a problem. It was just, I was like running around into this weird cycle. Yeah. And then, but it was just sort of like, then space came and I just started feeling happy. And this happened a number of times. And then I was like, maybe I just need to get my bars run before trying to like do all this sort of stuff. Just first start with getting my bars run. And usually that like just changes a lot already without having to try and work out, you know, the stuff that isn't even really true.
Yeah.
You know, stuff that you're aware of from other people, that you're buying from other people, stuff that isn't a problem in the first place, but you believe it's a problem. So you also believe you have to fix it somehow. And of course, you're going to do that by thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's like crazy upon crazy. And with getting the bars run, like, oh, that was easy.
Yeah, too easy.
Yeah.
Maybe easy.
Yeah. So it took me a few times to realize, okay, I'll try something different. You know, I'll just like get my bars run first before I go crazy.
Yeah, I know that. I know that.
We both do.
Yeah. Good. Good.
So the next one, looking back to your access starting point, which is the bars, what changed in your life till now? A lot, I think.
Yeah. And continues to change, I would say, like dramatically all the time. Like I said, my body, like I was quite sick. I went to the doctors, you know, a number of times, got blood tests, got all the tests, and they couldn't tell me what was going on. And that's a typical humanoid thing. It's like humanoid bodies go to the doctors and like they go, oh, we don't know. So we're going to call it this other thing because it's none of these things. It's like exclusionary diagnosis is what we call it. Because it's none of these things that we would go, yes, that's what it is. We're going to call it like chronic fatigue syndrome or irritable bowel syndrome or something that's not specific, but anyways. So my body shifted a lot at the beginning there, and I started having a lot more ease. And what I found over these 12 years and continuing, my body always gets happier, like, and greater. You know, and that's not just bars, that's like using all of the access tools and literally choosing my life more and more, like what's actually true for me, not from a conclusion, but a continuous creation and awareness and question, you know? So my body, first and foremost, money reality is like completely different. And I'm still working on it, like for greater.
Great.
So completely different, actually. Like I thought I had no possibility with money beforehand, you know, and like lack was just totally real all of the time. What else? Relationships. So I've got two kids, they're 16 and 13 at this point. And when I started Access, my oldest, well, he was 4 or 5. So he's 16 now. And that's a completely different reality. Like using the tools in regards to my kids and my current partner, Shannon, who I've also been with for 10 years, is a completely different reality. And I actually never thought that would be possible, to have like ease in the relationships and to have them actually become greater, because everything I saw before that was, you know, deterioration constantly in the relationships. Like my parents, for example, other people. So, I mean, let's say everything, and those things are easy to talk about. The other stuff, you know, it's like undefined things that I know, I guess I could define it somewhat energetically, how I can function now. Like when talking about entities, it's not like a reality that we see visually necessarily. Some people do a little bit, you know, but predominantly it's a perception and a knowing that you have. But with that those tools and that capacity, like acknowledging that capacity, being able to create so much more ease and lightness.
Yeah.
And with the tools of SOP, for example, the symphony of possibilities.
Yeah.
Being able to create so much more ease energetically in my life and create with those tools. Because creation is a lot of unseen stuff as well. You know, yes, you make choices and so forth, but it's not something, it's never a linear process. So being able to create in a non-linear process and be aware of things and constantly maneuver and change and so forth.
It's very important for all the people out there. There are beginners. It's not straight or anything. It's an up and a down. Sorry, this is consciousness.
It's no linear movement.
But the thing is, like, I would say it's not even like an up and a down. Like even that's looking at it from a 2D sort of axis. And Dane here, the co-creative access consciousness, he often says it's like this meandering path of consciousness, which I love, you know, because it totally is like a, when you look at it in a spherical sense, it is like in all directions, these possibilities and these choices and what things create, and everybody has their own way. There is no right way. They're literally, it's just not possible.
Yeah.
You know, right and wrong is like just a concept anyway. It doesn't exist in nature anywhere. It's just something that is fabricated.
Yeah.
So it's not real.
Yeah.
And when we try and put this journey into that framework, it's just not true, you know. So that meandering path is like this constant change and evolution.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what's really exciting for me. It's just like the possibilities are constantly increasing. There's more possibility all of the time.
Wow, cool.
Oh, awesome.
Great, great. I love your energy. Sorry.
I can just talk a lot.
Yeah.
No issue. So the last one is, as one of our thought of this Facebook group Bars Around the World and also these interview sessions is to support people who are not that familiar with access consciousness and with the bars, or people who are bars practitioner already or new bars facilitator. So they are at the beginning stage. Let's say it in that way. So
let's say beginning, quote unquote.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
I totally know. I'm saying it for everybody else mostly.
Yes.
Is there anything in addition you want to mention to them regarding consciousness, regarding access bars? Some tips or some information which just wanted to be shared?
I'd say two things. Like, since you mentioned consciousness, I love the definition because it's the most undefined definition I think that exists. Like, consciousness includes everything and judges nothing.
Yeah.
If that is your reference point and your compass,
wow,
you can never go wrong. Where you literally are willing to include more rather than exclude, avoid, do all those sorts of things. You're literally always willing to step up and include more, including you, and not judge, or not by judgment, you know, because how much of the judgment is actually yours, or do you just believe it's yours because you're aware of it?
Yeah.
So if that's your gauge, yeah, it's a lot easier, let's say.
with the compass is wow. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Great.
And I did say there was two things. Let's see if I can remember the second thing. Yeah, just keep going. This is something Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, says a lot. Don't quit, don't give up. Just keep going. Yeah, just keep choosing.
Yeah,
great.
That's it. Wow, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time, Max.
Yeah.
My pleasure. Thank you guys for the invitation.
For this energy and for your time.
And for your contribution.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
I'll get better.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.